How we doing, guys? Welcome to today's session. It feels like a long time since I've streamed. I think it's coming up to a month. I think maybe 20 days. So we've had about 3 weeks off. Tail straight in. How are we doing? It's been yeah, it feels like ages since I've spoken to you guys. So welcome to today's session. I'm going to give everybody a moment to join. Today is going to be sort of a warm-up session because I'm going to explain how I'm structuring them going into the new year. I've got a lot of things that I want to do this year. I've got a lot of changes that I want to make in terms of how I interact with you guys, some of the content that we put out there. So I'm going to go over some of my ideas for that today. I'd like for you to give me your feedback today. Bragging about XAQP. I always start with XAQP on the screen. It is what it is. I was going to start with MetaTrader, but then I was thinking if the NASDAQ decides to dump today, it's going to absolutely cake it, and it'll be pretty embarrassing on stream. So, I mean, 2 longs on the NASDAQ at the minute. So I just need, how many points? Another 100 points or so. Hopefully we get there. We'll see this afternoon. But yeah, bragging about XAQP. It's a funny one because I was talking about this with one of my friends yesterday, and now that I'm in gold, officially. So for the people who don't know, for the people who, you know, didn't come to the sessions regularly in 2025, we spoke a lot about my Darwin, which is XAQP, as you can see on the screen right now. And I went into gold at the beginning of this month. And for me, as soon as I work at Darwinex and I stream and I talk to you guys on a daily basis, you know, I'm constantly talking to our traders, trying to motivate them, trying to help them out in terms of developing strategies or you know, whatever it is, you name it, I've done it with someone in the Darwinex community. You know, there's been plenty of times when I've sat on a call for an hour and just gone through somebody's issues that they're having from like a psychology perspective or strategy perspective. And so I kind of feel like now that I'm in DarwinIA Gold, a lot of pressure is off me because it's kind of, why should you guys listen to me when I'm talking? Why should you attend these streams? Why should you come, you know, and hear me talk about the markets? Well, now you kind of have reason to, right? Because I've achieved something that is kind of like the pinnacle goal of trading at Darwinex. And coming into 2026, it's kind of fell at a really good point because day one of 2026 is when I got promoted to gold. As same with Tail, as Tail is, you know, moving into gold as well. Still thinking that you only have one gold account. Well, my second one will be coming soon, hopefully in the next couple of months. I've completely lost track. Oh yeah, so I think starting on going into gold on the 1st of January, Mrs. has put some rub down behind my desk and my chair keeps getting caught on it. Do you know what? Screw this, we're going to stand up. I've also just crushed my hand on my desk. Oh. As I was saying, oh my life. Chaos. As I was saying, starting 2026, yeah, exactly that's how it's pretty cool to hit gold at the start of 2026. I think because you're starting a new year, because you're coming in fresh, you've kind of had a couple of weeks to reflect on what happened the previous year, what went well, what didn't, or at least I hope you did. Like, I hope you guys took a couple of weeks to yourselves and just kind of sat back and sort of said, you know, what did I do well this year? What could I have done better? Is there anything that I can improve on going into 2026? And that doesn't have to be based on your P&L. It's based on your behavior, your routine, the trades that you're taking, the strategies you're building, all of these different things that go into you as a trader. Now, having that period and then coming in fresh to 2026 when you've achieved that, or you tick over that achievement where you go, okay, I'm now in gold. I've now proved everything that I need to prove. Now it's just a case of scaling. It's a case of sitting back, doing the same thing again, but not having to prove anything to anybody, which for me, again, is massive. Like, personally, I know everybody has their own you know, goals that they set for themselves. But again, I sit here 3 times a week and stream to you guys, and there's always that thought in the back of my head is like, I need to make sure that I'm doing what I say I do. You know, who would I like? I couldn't live with myself selling a product and you know, coming on here to you guys and saying, yeah, you need Darwinex, you need to be consistent, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z if I'm not doing it myself. So it's a great way for me to start the year. And hopefully, you know, we all have a fantastic 2026. We've all got the tools, we've all got the resources, we've got the community, we've got the products. Outside of Darwinex too, there's so much that can help you as a trader these days. Whether you're a discretionary trader, whether you're an algorithmic trader, whether you're a long-term investor, whatever your approach to the market is, there's that many tools out there that can help you. That you kind of have. I don't want to say no reason to fail, because this is an inherently difficult industry, but you have no reason not to give it your best shot. So yeah, little rant over. Canis Lupi assist today when you announce the trial details. I wish. I actually have. So one of the ideas, I don't know if I mentioned this last year. One of the ideas that I had was to do like a competition between Spanish and Latin America versus UK and US this year. So at some point, not for the whole year, but just at some point this year, where myself and Joanne, the guy who basically is me but in Spain, we come together, we build our own tribes, and we kind of do it as a country versus country competition or tournament, if you will. So not to take away from the partners and the people who are out there with the tribes, and we do it kind of in a different spin-off way, if that makes sense. But that's something that we still need to get some more details on. There's dev work that goes on in the background when creating a tribe, so we have to come with kind of a good explanation of what we want to do. Risk 1%, Global Flows, how we doing? Welcome to the session, and I appreciate you. Appreciate both of you. Congratulations, massively appreciate it. So I can see quite a few people are in the session now. I want to start with what my plan is moving forward with these live streams. Obviously, I think it was probably mid-2025, I decided to scrap the presentations. So we stopped doing the weekly webinars, and instead we just jumped on and did live streams. Now from that, the feedback was massively positive. Not only the direct feedback where people message me and say, really enjoyed the streams or what have you, but also the indirect feedback, like the statistics of the viewers, the how many people sit on and actually watch the whole thing, or the retention rate, all that sort of stuff. All those were pointing to the fact that people actually didn't want the webinars. People wanted the more I won't say entertainment, but the more just chilled kind of streams where we talk markets, we talk strategies, we talk all of these different things. So going into this year, again, I want to put a little bit more attention to these streams. I want to actually build topics and build things that we can work on together as kind of a collective. So if you saw in the Discord earlier, I did lay out kind of a brief explanation of how I'm going to be structuring them, but it's going to stay the same, at least for now. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We will still have Sanjeev's performance coaching sessions bi-weekly on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I'm going to be doing weekly strategy development sessions. Now, the strategy development sessions are going to be different to what they were previously, where I would look at somebody's Darwin and do an analysis and review. The strategy development sessions is a strategy development session. We will jump on for an hour to 90 minutes. We will go through ideas. We will go through strategy, quant, FX Dreamer, all of these different platforms that I use to build strategies. We will take a look at different trading ideas. You guys can get involved. We can build strategies together. And we can go through the whole process of, idea creation, idea generation, testing, robustness checks, putting onto MetaTrader 5, testing there, all of these different things. Because when I did those sessions last year, I would say those were probably the best sessions from a feedback perspective. After those sessions, I always had, hundreds of DMs, maybe not hundreds of DMs. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration. But I got loads of DMs asking for more information, asking for help in doing so. And I think it's important because I learned how to do all of this sort of stuff pretty much off my own back. And I kind of learn by doing. I don't learn by sitting and watching a YouTube video or watching a course. And I think there's a lot of courses out there. How good they are, I don't know. But I think you guys would pick up, especially the algo traders, would pick up a lot of value from just kind of sitting on and spitballing ideas. Even if it's not a me teaching you guys, it's just we're spitballing ideas between us, talking about them. And, you know, I might build something in a different way to the way you guys build it. And therefore you pick up things from me and vice versa. You guys might say, why don't we add this filter in, and then we can add that filter, and who knows, at the end of it, maybe we'll make maybe we can even do something like we'll build a community Darwin where we build the strategies together, we implement it on a Darwin, and the Darwin is owned by the community. Any fees that it generates, we can put towards, I don't know, some form of community thing. Maybe we all take a share, or we all do what have you. And we can do it like that. We'll see. I'll see if I can put some ideas together for that. I really want to make the most of these sessions. So yeah, that's going to be the Tuesday sessions. The Wednesday sessions is something a little bit different. So on Wednesday, we're going to take a look at the actual market. We're going to take a look at individual stocks. We're going to take a look at indices, commodities, how markets are moving, where they're moving, why they're moving. I mean, I'm not probably the best market commentator because I'm an algo trader, so I don't sit here, you know, with breaking news open 24/7. However, I do have my finger on the button. That's the wrong way of saying it. I have my ear to the ground. I understand what's going on. I understand macroeconomics. So maybe it's a good place for us to get together, talk macro, take a look at some charts, take a look at some stock screeners, understand where I'm looking at, maybe not placing my money, but where I'm looking at different parts of the different sectors to potentially diversify my investments. And that sounds so bad. I'm trying to make it not sound like I'm doing financial advice, because that's not what it will be. It will be more of a educational, you know, we'll take a look at what markets are really moving. Performance fees to tribes prices. Maybe that's something that we can do. Maybe that's a good way of structuring it. And then on Thursday, we will do a good old Darwin analysis session. So I don't want to drop those sessions because I think a lot of people find value from them, but we will be sticking to one of those sessions per week. Whew. I forgot how hard it is to just stand here and talk for an hour. I haven't done it for 3 weeks now. I'm rusty as anything. I'm hoping you guys have, like I say, had some time to reflect on kind of your performance and your structure of 2025, and have set yourself goals for this year, things that you want to achieve. I personally I've set 3 goals. I've set a financial target for myself for the year that goes through everything from my salary from Darwinex, trading performance fees, and everything that I earn outside of that from investments, etc. I've also set a fitness goal. I'm getting married in August this year, and I at least need to lose 30 pounds by then. So that's my fitness goal for the year. And then I also have another goal of passing my IMC qualifications. Those are my 3 targets for this year. It's my 3 things that I'm focusing on. Anything else is a distraction. I really think that we're going to have strong market conditions this year for growth if you're focused on the right things and if you're doing the right things day in, day out. Taylor's just also direct messaged me saying, if I don't get an invite to the wedding, I'm coming anyway. I mean, you're more than welcome to join us. We're doing it in Vegas, so it's yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. That's actually it's gonna be a period of 3 weeks where I'm not gonna be here to do any streaming, to do any Discord stuff. So I'm gonna really feel out of sync when that comes. Tal says XAQP lover is doing so bad, it's unreal. Let's take a look. Like your XAQP lover. Also, as a side note, I don't know if we've got any gamers in here, but I used to use the browser Opera GX back in the day, like back when I had a little trading floor with my friends. We always used Opera GX as the browser. And then, I don't know why, but somewhere down the line, I stopped using it and I started using Google Chrome. And then the guy who I used to run the floor with, I was speaking to him recently, and he called me an idiot for not using Opera. And so I've gone back recently, and if you haven't used the browser Opera GX, just try it out. It's absolutely brilliant. You can embed your Spotify, YouTube, Discord, so you can just open up Discord, X, Telegram, WhatsApp. Like, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And you can play like cool little sounds in the background. It's wicked. I think it's well known in the gaming kind of in the gaming industry, but it's fantastic if you're a professional as well. Tal said he'll take over the streams in Discord. That's fantastic. I actually have a surprise for you guys next week. I have somebody joining me in the UK and US growth team. A very good friend of mine, somebody who is a Darwinex user as well, has a 2-year-long record in DarwinIA Gold, has $1 million under management. You probably find out who it is from that, but he's coming on board to help me with the growth, specifically in the UK and US. So I will have somebody to help me with streams, to help me with Discord and all of these different things. So my life is going to be a lot better this year, because last year, especially towards the end of the year, I don't know if you guys noticed, especially the guys who are in Discord, but my DMs and stuff started to get real slow, because my time was stretched so thin. And we have so many things planned for 2026 from a Darwinex perspective that I need somebody as a right hand who can help me with streams and help me with Twitter, Discord, all of these different things. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting. I'll bring him into one of the streams over the next few weeks. He also trades in a very similar way to me, so I think it'd be really interesting to get him on for some of the strategy building sessions. In fact, he could probably lead some of those sessions, which is fantastic. But yeah, there's going to be some great things coming to Darwinex this year. So if you're in this session right now, stick it out for the whole next year. I promise you, you will come away from the year a much better person and a much better trader if you just stick at it and focus with us this year. Savanto, big up gold. Yeah, big up gold, bad boy. Iron Live, hi all. How we doing? Hope you're well. Welcome to the session. So this is Tails, Darwin, XAQP lover. I mean, that still creases me. It's like free advertisement for me. So if anybody comes on here, they'll be like, oh, what's XAQP? And maybe we can see if we can get some like hyperlink in here, so it just links everybody back to mine. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You only started in November, right? I mean, it ended the year in the green at least. But yeah, just give this time. We also have WBXY, WXBY or WBXY. I always get WXBY. I always get these confused. So there was a bit of like healthy competition going on between me and Tail this year. Towards the end of last year, because Tail was about, I think he was about 118, 119. And they needed kind of a 1% or 1.5% in December. And you finally got there. You got gold, which is fantastic. I just see that you've added some more into XAQP. I did see that. I think there was an extra 1,000. This went up from 3 to 4. Currently got 52K. Started last week. I think 18 of that is DarwinIA Hedge 0. So for those of you, I think there's still some confusion around that. I won't pull up the investors list because obviously that's kind of confidential information. But you'll get an investor called DarwinIA Hedge 0. And basically what that is, it's a way for us to hedge out our exposure to your DarwinIA allocations and to your boosters and permanent allocations. Now, I've been getting a few questions about this recently, which is why I think there's still some confusion. When we provide DarwinIA allocations, boosters, permanent allocations, that capital is all virtual. Right, so it's not live capital. It's not like we put 100K into a margin account and are actually trading with it. Therefore, there's always a risk on our side. Okay, it's a manageable risk, but it's a risk nevertheless. If you've got 500K in DarwinIA allocations and boosters and permanent allocations, and you do a 10% month, that's 50 grand. Okay, then you've got your 15%. There's a few £1,000s that we would have to pay out to you as a trader, right? Now, again, if the revenue that we've had from you as a client is 50 euros a month, and you've paid $1,000 for a booster, what have you, obviously we're in negative there. So the purpose of DarwinIA Hedge 0 is we're actually putting live capital in a margin account to hedge out the 15% performance fees that we would be paying you from those allocations. So I'm not going to do the maths off the top of my head. I have 180,000 in DarwinIA allocations. That is all DarwinIA. There's no boosters or permanent allocations. And I think I have $18,000 invested by DarwinIA Hedge 0 to hedge off I think it's about 60 or 70% of that net exposure we're actually hedging. The rest of it we don't touch, but we're hedging about 60 to 70% of that. So there's been people noticing that they have an investor even though they're in silver. So I was speaking to somebody earlier today who was confused because they had an investor, which was DarwinIA Hedge 0, but they weren't in gold. The reason that they had the investor is because they paid for 400K worth of boosters. So of course, with that, that's obviously a massive risk to us as a business. We don't have enough information on the trader yet. I think his record is like 3 months or 4 months old. And so what we do is we hedge out the exposure to that trader. Because if that trader goes again and makes a 10%, 15, or even 20% month, that's real performance fees we have to pay out. And therefore, any profit that we make from that hedge account, from the capital that we put in the margin account to hedge that exposure, goes straight to the trader. So if you make 5,000 in performance fees, that's actually been generated from the capital that we put in. I can see that I can have 2 Darwins under one account. When will that be available? So at the moment, that is just to show if you have a Darwinex Classic and Darwinex 0 account under the same username. Eventually, I think it will be, you'll be able to link multiple Darwinex 0 Darwins under the same username. Timeline for that, I have no idea. It's something that I've asked for in the past, but we kind of, or at least even the dev team doesn't know when that will be readily available. Again, it's mainly for guys who have multiple, because you can have multiple Darwinex Classic, so 3 ticker Darwins. You can have multiple of them, and then 1 Darwinex 0 Darwin. Don't ask why. It's just the way it is at the moment. But hopefully in the future that will be sorted, and you can have multiple Darwins under the same username. Christian G, hi Kieran, how we doing? Hope you're all well, my friend. Welcome to the session. What was I going to say then? I think I need to turn the lights on, right? Alexa, turn my Gobi lamp on. Oh, well, that's a shame. It definitely is turned on, so she's talking nonsense. See? Oh, I need to turn that up a little bit. Gobi. It's about to get a whole lot brighter. There we go. Looks like it's daytime again now. What Sharpe ratio of your portfolio looks amazing? I think is above 4. Parabellum here. How we doing, my friend? Hope you're all well. I think it's 5.25, but to me that's ridiculously high. I don't know how that's calculated. I don't think it's that high. Why is my desk not going down? Oh, great. I think I broke my desk. No, it's not coming down. Yeah. For some reason, I kept pressing the setting to sit down, and it just kept jumping back up. I think the Sharpe ratio for my... So if I load up... I'll bring up my actual report. Where is it? XAQP. So this is the report of my portfolio. This is all based on back-tested data, just FYI. However, I also have the live data now that backs this up. So this is on a 1x risk multiplier. So you can see last year in 2025 did 18.13%. My Darwinex account actually runs at 3.4x that risk. Does it tell me? Does it even tell me the Sharpe ratio on here? I feel like it does. Maybe it's at the top. Yeah, Sharpe ratio 0.15. Okay, so that is completely different to 525. I know they're running at different risk levels, and so obviously we have to take that into account. But to me, the Sharpe ratios that we see on Darwinex are always way higher than what I would expect. So if we just Google what is a good Sharpe ratio? So if you Google what is good Sharpe ratio, Good, generally above 1. Anything above 2 considered very good, and above 3 is excellent. Is 8.5. Yeah, so a Sharpe ratio of 5 or higher is considered excellent and generally out of scope for typical scalable long-term investment funds. So what that means is, whilst short term, like during this time, maybe it's scored a 5.25, but that will likely come down to a more reasonable level. I don't think Quant Analyzer or MetaTrader works out Sharpe ratios correctly. There's a different calculation on the back end. It's not like profit factor where it's you know, the sum of your total gain versus take away the sum of your total losses. I think there's some Sharpe ratio. That's not what I wanted. Is there multiple ways to calculate Sharpe ratio? Yeah, so you can see there's multiple ways to calculate the Sharpe ratio based on whether you're using historical or expected data or adjusting for time periods. So there's always going to be discrepancies from platform to platform. Personally, for me, 0.15 is too low. You know, we even saw like a Sharpe ratio of 1 was okay. It's not even good, but this is an 8-year track record. Again, obviously, of course, this is back tested, but it's an 8-year back tested record. Drawdown no further than 1.74%. And it's done 132%. And it's saying it's a Sharpe ratio of 0.15. Now, to me, of course, that is not calculated correctly. However, on the flip side, 5.25 is also way, way, way out of scope. It's nowhere near that high. Again, I've had a very, very good period from April last year or May last year, let's say. And, you know, if I have a couple of down months this year, then, you know, potentially the Sharpe will drop to 4, 3, if not 2. I have no beef with that dropping down to even 1.5 to 2.5. That's still well above kind of average for, you know, retail trader. So Changing the World said, is there something where we can get payouts quicker or something that we could change this year? We do have the monthly payout option or the monthly high watermark. Of course, if you don't select that within the first 2 weeks, then that does go. There's been a lot of requests to bring that back to Darwins that didn't take advantage of it. So there's potentially something there. But as of right now, there's nothing to make that any quicker. Christian G, there's a Sharpe ratio calculator there. The calculation on Darwinex is the correct one. It takes monthly return and it makes it annualized. That's the correct way to do it. Okay, so Christian says that's the correct way to do it. Again, I mean, maybe it's just me. Like that just seems way too high. But I guess if what you're saying is correct, it's taking it off the annualized return, which is expected return. And like I say, I don't think it will stay that high forever. I would presume that it's gonna drop quite significantly at some point, which again I'm quite happy with. Incredible Knitting said, type EA report analyzer into Google. EA report analyzer. You'll find what you're looking for. If that's the only thing that drops off. Yeah, your money's gonna drop, bro. Which one are we talking about here? Incredible Knitting. I'm presuming it's something that you can upload your reports into. Whether it's similar to Quant Analyzer or not, I don't know. Oh, that's unfortunate. Definitely hasn't been moved or deleted. There we go. There's also a bug with QA where you can see it says 2000% drawdown. That's actually the dollar amount, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change it, which is strange. No idea why it does that. Changing the world. I mean, when you start Darwin, it takes a while to get past calibration and earn your first payout. Yeah, so you can, I mean, at the minute you can purchase a booster or permanent allocation once you've passed calibration. But for us, like we want to build you as an asset manager. Now that is going to take time. If that means that it takes 4 months, 5 months, like for us as a business, it makes no difference, right? I'm trying to word this from a way that doesn't come across wrong, but we're not here to provide things instant. As in, we don't just want to go, right, okay, let's see how we can make this trader as much money as possible. We want you to prove your skill, and then we will scale you over time. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is our focus as a business isn't on the short term, quick, fast, let's try and rinse everything, overnight. We have our fund, we have all the infrastructure to operate as a fund, and that is the way we treat our traders, as if you're professional asset managers. So again, the focus is on long-term stable growth and steady compounding. So in a way, like, you have the option to enable boosters and you could and monthly performance fees, and therefore technically if you have a good month you could start getting paid within your first month. But in terms of like us making it easier for you to get paid on your first month, it doesn't fit with our ethos as a business to try and get those quick wins. So yeah, I feel like I've overworded that, so I apologize. Keen base, top one. Okay, I wonder if it'll let me upload I don't even know where it is. Where is that report? It's on my desktop. Let's try that again. Desktop. I'm presuming you can't put a quant analyzer file in. Okay. Use multiple reports at once. Okay, let's try that then. XOQB. There we go. Whoop. Went down a bit too much then. Sharp ratio 2.37. There we go. You're a superstar. I'm gonna save this bookmarks. Yeah, because that to me sounds a lot more in line with what I expect. 2.37. Fantastic. I am gonna use this and send it around to a few people, because that's exactly what I wanted. So yeah, to go back to the original question, what's the Sharpe ratio of the portfolio? 2.37. But again, my Darwinex one might be slightly different anyway, because it's risking higher. And of course, we have the risk engine, which can close exposure early, which again can adjust ratios like that. Tan, hi Kieran, that hat suits you a lot. Thanks, dude. It's only because I've got a mop at the minute. My barber's too busy, and I didn't book an appointment over Christmas, so I've got to wait till the 13th of Jan to have my barnet chopped. I used to, back in the day, like 10 years ago, I wore caps every single day. Every day, I wouldn't leave the house without one. So I appreciate you, Incredible Knitting, for sharing Keybase. That's fixed a lot of my issues. Thank you very much. David Gomez, you're in the challenge of snow. Yeah, indeed. I mean, we don't actually have much snow here now. It rained yesterday, although we're supposed to have more snow on Thursday night. Changing the world. Do you have any favorite Darwin tickers? UEXL. No. Obviously XAQP. Got to back my own. My favorite, good friend of mine. I mean, I'm pretty much just giving it away. This is a guy who's joining my team next week. IME, Blaine Marshall. This is the guy who originally, I say, taught me how to build strategies. We had like one session together where we sat down and did some stuff together. But we're close friends now. We do a lot of stuff together. We talk strategies a lot. I understand a lot of what goes on behind the curtain for him in terms of how he builds systems, what he's looking for, how he approaches his portfolio management, how he looks at adopting his strategies over time. I've learned a lot from him, but I also think he's learned a lot from me when we've spoken about strategy development and stuff, and how to adjust them for current market conditions and stuff. So IME is 100% one of my favorites. Let's see who else we've got. Sorrow trades also. So I grade people in my head a little bit differently. If somebody is a discretionary trader, I respect their not respect their performance more. That's a bad way to phrase it. But I'm more impressed by their consistency than I am by somebody who's like me running a multi-strat portfolio, because by nature, a multi-strat fund should have a higher level of consistency. It's probably going to be a slower performer in terms of, you know, you probably won't double your account every year. You know, it probably is more modest approach. However, it's what it lacks in performance, quote unquote. It sure then makes up for inconsistency. So when I find a discretionary trader like Sorrow Trades who performs at such a consistent level as they have, I mean, it's phenomenal to see. So Sorrow is also one of my favorites. Then we have Deanna Cole. If you don't follow these guys, make sure you follow them on social media. I know Sorrow talks, he posts a lot of trades before and after. Deanna Cole, who is LWLU, is a clinical psychologist. She is a phenomenal futures trader. Again, this is her record over the past, well, since October 2024. She's an amazing person, really, really lovely person. And her trading is just fantastic. She's another one of kind of my gold standard Darwins. You know, again, you're asking me about my favorites. Deanna is 100% in kind of my top 5 to top 10. Again, just the consistency is phenomenal. And every time she goes through a bad patch or a period of drawdown, she bounces back straight away. I remember I spoke to her, I think it was here. We had a little conversation when she had that dip. And I just said to her, look, like, don't lose your head now. Just keep going. Like, and then in a couple of days, she'd already bounced back and was, you know, higher than she was before. So it's great to see. And also, she's phenomenal at talking about psychology. She's a clinical psychologist, so she comes out with some really good stuff. However, she doesn't have a massive social media following because she doesn't post Lambos and lifestyle stuff. She's just a genuine person. So I would definitely give her a follow if you're looking for good traders to follow this year. Who else do we have? I'm just, I'm watching McCoy, doxing everybody right now. No more coming to mind, really. Who else is there? There's a load of great Darwins. TXRT. There's a load of great Darwins, but some of them I don't know enough about to be able to say that they're my favorite. And other than like I say, Sorrow, Blaine, Deanna, TXRT. I had a call with this guy some point in 2025. Again, really, really nice guy, really humble person. I think we spoke when his Darwin was up here or something, and then he went on a bit of a sour patch, but he ended the year on a high. Again, fantastic year, 40% year in 2025, just phenomenal performance, and super consistent. Obviously, had this period of stagnation here, but absolutely normal, especially again for a discretionary trader. Who else is there? A lot of traders really struggled in the last 6 months of last year. A lot of people who showed promise in the first 6 months of 2025 really struggled in the last 6 months of 2025, which is a real shame, because we had some up and coming Darwins that were just killing it, and then all of a sudden they just fell off, which, like I say, is a massive shame, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. Who else do we have? SQZ. I interviewed SQZ. trades interactive broker account. A fantastic guy. Had a bit of a rough patch in early 2025. I did an interview with him. We released it last year. Really nice guy. Really, again, really humble person. I think he probably holds a record for the fastest Darwin to hit 1 million after going live. So when they went live, how do we get the investors up? Investors all time. As it shows here. So he was open to investors on the 15th of January 2025. Okay, so he went from 0, and then on the 14th of Feb, which was a year on, a month on, he had $894,000 in investor capital. So in 1 month, he went from 0 to 894K. A month later, he had 906, not that much of a dramatic growth. He did hit 1 million in that time, and then he went through a bit of a rough patch, but he's back up at 1 million now. He's got just over 1 million AUM from 18 investors. So I'm presuming that Darwinex has invested quite heavily in him from the index. And I remember I met him in London. We met at a trading event. I can't remember what the event was called. And I sort of said to him, because this was like a couple of days after he hit that 1 million mark, I said, like, how does it feel? You know, you're realistically, your life has changed, right? I know people moan about, oh, but you only pay 15%, oh, this, that, and the other. But on 1 million, that still might be 30, 40, 50 grand a year in income for you. And if that's more than your salary, or if that matches your salary, guess what? You've just doubled your income, you know, or replaced your income for the same thing that you was doing yesterday. So Sanger, for example, the trader behind SQZ, within a month, he went from trading with 0 investor capital to having almost 1 million. He was doing the same thing before, and he was doing the same thing after. But guess what? He was earning nothing from it here. Well, maybe not nothing, but he was earning, I don't know, $1,000 a month, let's say, to then earning $6,000 a month, for example. And all you're doing is the same process. I kind of went off on a tangent then, so I apologize. I keep watching the NASDAQ. My camera's right above my MetaTrader. Usually I have my MT5, on my top screen, but that's got my VPS on that. Well, it's not VPS. I actually, over the Christmas period, for the guys who attended the sessions last year, you'll remember I was talking about setting up a Hetzner server based on, I can't remember who it was. One of the guys who was in one of the live sessions recommended Hetzner because I said that I was looking to change my VPS because it just was not powerful enough. And so I ended up, it took me the whole day, right? So before I finished for Christmas break last year, I spent a whole day setting up my Hetzner server, and oh my life, it was one of the most difficult things to do because I just don't have a clue about any of that sort of stuff. But I have it set up now. It's lightning speed. I've got strategy quant running on it. I've got my 2 Darwinex accounts. I've got my FTMOs on there and all of my other accounts running. It's super, super powerful, far more powerful than my old VPS. I think my VPS had like 2 gigabytes of RAM. This dedicated server's got 64 gigabytes of RAM. So it's like ultra, ultra fast and just perfect for what I'm using it for now. So that means my MetaTrader 5 is kind of on the lower screen. So if I bring it over, I've got 2 NASDAQ longs open at the minute. I've got one from, when was this? Was this Sunday? Oh, no, it was from yesterday morning. So this is an SMA strategy that I have. I think it trades a 2-to-1 risk to reward on the daily time frame. Basically, essentially for that strategy, it checks whether it's above 2 SMAs. If it is, it waits for 3 bearish candles as a pullback, and then it will buy on the first bullish candle. And same for the downside. It will do, if it's below the SMAs, it will wait for 3 bullish candles and it will sell the first bearish candle. So we had that. If I jump onto the daily, so you can see we had bearish, 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 bullish. So that's actually like more. That's like 1, 2, 3. No, it's a bullish. 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish candles, and then it's just waiting for that first bullish candle. That closed there, so it opened on the following day. The open of the following day. So that's trade number 1 that I'm in, and then I'm also in a breakout of this high. Both targets are here. The breakout system is like a negative risk to reward system, which is nice because the SMA pullback strategy is a 2-to-1 risk to reward system. So it's kind of like, a lot of people talk about adding to winning positions. That's essentially what this is doing, although it's just, you know, happening by chance. So hopefully we hit target on that in a moment. If I'll pull up my Notion, SMA pullback, where is it? NASDAQ. SMA pullback. Yes, this is what the strategy looks like. It's quite infrequent, really. I mean, we're asking for a lot. We're asking for it to be above or below a two specific SMAs, and then we're asking for quite a lot in terms of like having at least 3 bearish or bullish days, and then 1 of the opposite direction. But you can see it's a solid system. Profit factor 2.2. Again, sharp is just I always ignore this. 53% win rate overall, and it has it's just over a 2-to-1. So SL in percentage is 180, TP in percentage is 400, so it's just over a 2-to-1. I really struggle to build high risk to reward strategies. I don't struggle to build them, I struggle to trade them. But that's one of them that I'm happy to hold. I think it's because the NASDAQ inherently is an appreciating asset. So if I get long on the NASDAQ, I'm happy to hold it for a couple of days. This breakout system has like a 77% win rate, I think, but it also has a negative risk to reward, which is why I'm still in these now, because I'm like, it's a nice confluence knowing that I'm in that 2-to-1 risk to reward trade right before target, and now I'm in a second trade where it has a 77% chance of hitting target. So hopefully that happens in a moment, which means I should be up on the day now. This doesn't really make sense to me because I'm slightly up on the day. I have no exposure closed, so 0 exposure closed. I'm only up a tiny bit, but then if I show you the MetaTrader, I'm at $300 at the minute, and I'm only down 100 on the day. So something doesn't add up to me there. So I don't know if we had a 404 server error earlier. I don't know if that's not calculated things properly, which I'm going to have to double check because it doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't. You can give monthly return to ChatGPT and ask it to calculate annualized. I'm pretty sure the sharp of 5 is realistic in your portfolio. Yeah, I tell you, it probably is, but it's just for such a condensed time period that I don't trust it. As in, when I say I don't trust it, I mean I don't trust it like long term. I don't think it's going to be 5 forever. Yeah, the last 6 months of 2025 was rough. I only made like 8%, which isn't horrible, but nothing compared to first half. Yeah, which, you know, I mean, 8% in 6 months is fantastic still. That's, you know, especially if that's the lesser amount that you've made in a 6 month period. But yeah, the last 6 months, I mean, I performed really well personally, but it's not me performing. I've got breakout strategies that were just buying breakouts of all-time highs and stuff. So it's a rough market, I think, if you're a discretionary trader. Kieran, change the description from XAQ lover itself, the user, not the Darwin. Good Darwins anymore. Some great ones out there. Yeah, there's some real good Darwins out there. Some real quality traders. I actually think I might need to raise that. So that's really doesn't sit right with me. Now it's saying I'm down on the day, but I'm up $200 on my Signal account, which is almost 1% on my Darwin. I'm gonna raise that. Can anybody else confirm me? Can you just double check what you think your Darwin quote should be based on your P&L for today? Tail, it would be really helpful if you could check for me, because I've just sent it across to Javi, because this isn't right. I don't think it's right. I think this is wrong, unless it's accounting for some trades that I was in yesterday. If we go 6th, when did these close? Okay, it could be that. It still doesn't make sense. So I closed some trades last night, 8 p.m. But MetaTrader is 2 hours ahead of me, so that yeah, it still shouldn't make a difference really. No, I definitely think that's off. What I'm thinking is maybe the server error that we had earlier today is like affecting the Darwin quote calculation or this number in the background somehow, because that just isn't right. If I went on here and I had closed exposure, it would make sense, because we'd be looking at it and we go, well, you're not in the full trades that you were in, but I have 0 closed exposure, which means it's a literal 3.36x multiplier of my single account size, which means it should be the same on either account. So it's a little bit strange, unless again, I don't know. I'm not going to lose sleep over it though. I'm going to close these NASDAQ trades on my FTMO account, because so FTMO is a weird one, right? Because I've got two 200Ks with FTMO. And I have all the same strategies set up on there. Of course, there's differences between brokers, but it's been pinging off different trades, and I'm really struggling to understand why. Because my XAQP Darwinex portfolio is 100% the correct one, and FTMO has been pinging off some slightly different positions. So I think I need to go through some of the strategies and make sure all the settings are correct. But because of that, it's missed a couple of trades and took a couple of trades last week. Luckily, nothing kind of was too bad, so I didn't really get hit from it, but I did take a few extra L's than I would have liked. So I kind of need to make up that balance a little bit from those mishaps, if you will. So I've just closed the NASDAQ positions on there. I think I'm also going to close the SMA pullback one on Darwinex soon, and then let the breakout system just run. So we'll see. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna call it an end to a session there, because I am gonna have to go. And I want to report this issue with the Darwin quote, because I want to escalate it and see if it actually is a problem or if it's something that I'm doing stupidly wrong. So I'm going to be back tomorrow at the same time at 4 p.m. UK time. We will do a Darwin analysis session then. Adriano Trader, I've just seen your message. Please check my DarwinIA quote ACLW. Tomorrow is the Darwin analysis session. So I would say come to tomorrow at the same time for the live session, and I will do an analysis of your Darwin then, as I'm wrapping up the session now. So guys, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you all for joining me for the first stream of 2026. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back. Feels like we never left in the end. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow to do a Darwin analysis session. So have a fantastic rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're watching this from in the world, and have a fantastic rest of your day. And I will catch you in the next stream. See you later, guys.